Have you ever flipped a coin, you get 5 heads in a row, and you just feel it in your gut, the next one has to be tails? Well, that feeling, that powerful hunch that the universe needs to balance things out, it's one of the most common and most expensive mistakes our brains make. Today, we're going to break down why that feeling is so wrong and how a whole industry is built on you having it. Okay, let's set the scene. I want you to picture this: the Grand Monte Carlo Casino. It's a hot summer night back in 1913, and the place is just packed with Europe's rich and famous. The air is electric, and everyone's attention is focused on this one roulette table where something absolutely unbelievable is happening. The little white ball has landed on black. Not once, not twice, but 26 times in a row. Can you imagine that? The quiet whispers in the room would have turned into a full-on roar. Every single spin, the tension just climbs higher and higher. This isn't just a streak anymore. It feels like the laws of nature are being broken right in front of them.
And the crowd, they react exactly how you'd think. They start shoveling money onto red. It's not even a gamble anymore. It's a certainty in their minds. Red is due, they're probably shouting. The law of averages demands it. But the wheel just keeps on spinning, and the ball keeps landing on black. By the time that streak finally broke, millions of francs had literally vanished from the players' pockets and ended up locked away in the casino's vault.
So this is the big question, right? How could a room full of smart people be so confident about something and be so disastrously wrong? This wasn't because the wheel was rigged or anything. No, it was about a fundamental glitch in our human intuition when we're faced with pure randomness. A glitch that, we all share.
That incredible night in Monte Carlo is the perfect example of this powerful, costly illusion. It really highlights the war that goes on in our heads between what our gut is screaming at us and what the cold, hard math actually proves.
And here it is. This is the official name for it: the gambler's fallacy. It's this deep-seated belief that past random events can somehow affect future ones. After a long run of black, our brain just yells that red is now somehow more likely, as if the universe is keeping score and needs to even things out. But here's the thing: it isn't.
So, why? Why do we fall for this trap? Why is this fallacy so darn convincing to almost everyone? We've got to get into the psychology of it, because it's truly fascinating.
And let's be super clear about this. This has nothing to do with being smart or bad at math. It's a feature, not a bug, of how our brains are wired. We are pattern-seeking machines. It's a survival instinct that helps us make sense of the world. But it backfires, spectacularly, when we're up against something that is truly, genuinely random.
So the psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, they figured this out. They called it the representativeness heuristic. Basically, our brain has a little stereotype of what random is supposed to look like. To us, a coin flip sequence like heads, tails feels way more random than heads, heads, even though both are equally likely to happen. A long streak of black just doesn't fit our mental picture of random, so our brain jumps to the conclusion that something has to fix it.
And this gets right to the heart of the mistake. Tversky and Kahneman had a great name for our faulty intuition. They called it the law of small numbers. It's our brain's mistaken belief that a tiny sample size, like 10 coin flips, should perfectly mirror the 50-50 long-term average. But the real, actual statistical law, the law of large numbers, says you need thousands, maybe millions, of flips for the results to really start evening out. Our brains are just way too impatient for the math. Okay, so our psychology is messy, and frankly, kind of flawed. But the math behind all this, it's brutally, beautifully simple. And it's the key to proving our intuition totally wrong. The entire thing boils down to this one simple idea: independent events. Every single spin of that roulette wheel, every toss of a coin, it's a completely clean slate. The wheel, the coin, the dice, they have no memory. Zero. They don't know what happened 5 seconds ago, and they couldn't care less. They have no way to correct for the past. And this, right here, is the critical confusion. Gamblers are actually right about one thing: a long streak is super rare. The odds of getting 5 reds in a row, from the very beginning, are incredibly low. But that's not the question. The question is, what are the odds of the next spin being red? And the answer to that, even after 100 blacks, has not changed one tiny bit. Let's look at the hard numbers for an American roulette wheel. See that first line? The odds of any single spin landing on red are always 18 out of 38, so about 47.37%. Always. Now, the odds of getting 5 reds in a row from the start? Yeah, that's a tiny 2.31%. But look at that last line. This is the crucial part.
The probability of the very next spin being red, after those 5 reds have already happened, snaps right back to 47.37%. The past is history. It's irrelevant.
So this brings us to the casino's side of the table. They don't just hope you make this mistake. No, their entire business model is built on an unbreakable law of mathematics that guarantees they come out on top in the long run. We've all heard this, right? Or even said it. The law of averages has to kick in eventually. It just feels so true, like it's a law of physics or something. But this belief is based on a complete misunderstanding of how averages actually, really work. This is the real law. The law of large numbers. It doesn't promise some magical short-term fix. What it guarantees is long-term convergence. It says that if you do something enough times, and we're talking a huge number of times, the results will eventually get super close to the true probability. And the keywords there are, you guessed it, large numbers. So if there's no correction, how do things even out? Well, it's not about correction. It's about dilution. Think about that crazy streak of 26 blacks in Monte Carlo. At that moment, it feels enormous, right? But what about after a million more spins? That 26-spin fluke becomes a totally insignificant little blip, completely washed out by the ocean of new data. The law works by drowning the past, not by balancing it.
All right, let's put it all together. You've got the player's faulty, pattern-seeking brain on one side and the casino's cold, unbreakable math on the other. This isn't a fair fight. It's a system that has been specifically designed for a predictable outcome.
The casino's advantage is called the house edge, and it's engineered right into the game. Those green 0 and double 0 pockets, they're the casino's secret weapon. They're not red or black, so if you bet on a color and the ball lands there, you lose. And get this, just by adding that one extra pocket, the double 0 on the American wheel, the casino nearly doubles its guaranteed profit. It's such a small change, but it has a massive impact. This is the most important number in the whole game for someone playing American roulette. This is the expected value of betting $1. It's the mathematical reality that you just can't escape. So what this means is that over the long run, for every single dollar you slide onto the table, the casino is mathematically guaranteed to keep about 5.26 cents of it. And the law of large numbers is the relentless engine that turns that tiny little mathematical edge into billions and billions of dollars in real-world profit.
And here it is, the whole beautiful, brutal cycle. This is how your own brain helps the casino beat you. The gambler's fallacy kicks in and makes you think a win is due, so you bet more. Betting more just increases the number of spins, the number of trials. And all that does is speed up the law of large numbers, which guarantees you'll lose that 5.26 cents on every dollar. Your very attempt to beat the odds is what makes you lose faster. It's genius, really. At the end of the day, the casino wins because its entire business is built to profit from a universal flaw in how we see the world, our desperate need to find patterns even where none exist. They have basically weaponized a glitch in our brains. And it really makes you wonder, if this bias is so powerful and costly in a casino, where else might it be popping up? In the stock market? In your day-to-day decisions? Where else are you betting on a correction that the math says is never going to come?